The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today. We'll talk about Pandoras box, Projector recalibration tool, and the calibration link today. Thomas will help me to answer your questions. Hello, Thomas.
Hello, Pari.
Hi. So feel free to ask everything what is in your mind, and you can ask in our chat field. Okay, so let's start. With our webinar content. So today we will talk about the calibration link device, so the input cards, and then we will talk a little bit about the fiber cables and what's important to know about them. And we will have a little setup here. We will explain the hardware setup first, and then we will go into the software and the widget designer and talking about the calibration link and projector recalibration tool in Pandoras box and how to use them. Okay, let's start with the calibration link. So as you can see in the picture, the calibration link is a netlink device with two calibration fiber input boards. These input boards allow measuring the light intensity levels of a 1 millimeter fiber cable. The recalibration process is based on these measurements. So the quality of light transmission affects the quality of the process. Actually, these cards are analog input boards, and each board has 8 connectors, and these are actually they detect the incoming voltage in specific gradual steps, providing data information from the connector sensor. In the software, we will get a value range from 0 to 1023 if light's coming in. Now let's talk a little bit about the fiber cables. Mounting the fiber cables, they should be straight to the projector. So all of these fiber cables, the best way to mount them is to mount them in each corner of the projection, or if you have a panel or a screen, to mount them in each corner. And they should look straight to the projector. So because they should catch as much light as possible. So that's very important. And you need also a minimum number of 4 fiber cables for each projector. So if you have a setup like this, if you have a soft touch blend area and 2 projectors, then you can use 6 fiber cables. So you can share these 2 fiber cables which are in the blend area with both of these projectors. That's possible. Okay. So there should be no direct sunlight, and you shouldn't blend or break these cables, these fiber cables. They should have for each projector the same length. If they should if you choose for a length for 5 meters, then should be all 5 meters. That's very important. Okay, and then how to find out the maximum length of the fiber cables. You should find out the minimum brightness. So it is just a rule for the minimum brightness. If you have 10 meters fiber cables, then 100 lux should come through. And for 20 meters, 200 lux. But it is only for minimum brightness, so you can also use more lux yeah, having a better connection for it. The next important thing is that the ends of these cables should be clean and cutted. So and they should be cut straight because yeah, because the light needs to go through these cables, and it's very important that these cables are clean and not avoiding the light coming through. And for these kind of setups, each projector has to be in a best focus for all fibers, because we are doing the projector pixels, we are recalibrating the projector pixels, and we are trying to find out the fiber points, the location of the fiber points. This is why they should have the best focus. Any questions so far, Mark?
No, actually, there are no questions yet.
Okay. Then let's go to our hardware setup for today. I have a little panel here, as you can see in the camera, and I hope you can see also the black points within each corner. These are the fiber cables looking through the panel. The fiber cables are connected to the netlink, and the netlink is connected via network cable into our switch. Then I have a compact player using it as a client, which is connected to the projector. I have actually two projectors. One of them is used for the welcome panel, and the other one we will use it for the recalibration. On my laptop, I have the widget designer and Pandoras box, so which is talking to the client, and so it's a client master setup, and via network we will also talk to the netlink or calibration link. So let's have a look into the widget designer. First of all, we have to make sure that we are in the same range, network range, as a netlink. So let's have a look into the nodes, input, devices, calibration link. As you can see, we have to enter the calibration link IP addresses. This is the default IP. So if you purchase a netlink or a calibration link from us, it's just default. Default IP will be this. But I have changed the default IP in my setup, so I have to make sure that the widget designer is also in the same network range. That's why I have to go to the connection manager and have a look under IP info and setup. The local IP is 20010. And if it's wrong, then you can choose here the correct adapter for it. So this is the correct one. Now I will enter the IP address of the calibration link. It's 20065. Now I can use the connect button to connect the netlink with the Project Designer. So as you can see, it will be gray, and that means that's connected. If you want to change the IP address, you can use the change IP button. If you have changed input or output board in a netlink, then you have to configure it again. So this is why we have this configure module. Actually, when we are giving to you the netlink device, these cards are already configured. But if you have changed something, then you have to configure it again to be able to use them in the Widget Designer. Now I can start the data. Start data is a button for high data. As you can see, the values are jumping. If you have a setup that you need to use for longer time, then you can use the start integrate button. So you will see the data is coming in, but in a lower speed. And stop data means no incoming signals. So let's start these data again. As you can see, from number 1 to 8, it's nothing happening because no connector is connected there. I have connected my fiber cables, 4 fiber cables from 9 to 12. So this is why you will see they are jumping lots and in higher values. From 13 to 16, it's also nothing connected, but they will still get some light if the connectors are not close, not very close. So you can screw them to not getting any signals, but value is always okay to get, even if the connectors are closed. So if you do not want to get anything there, you can just tape them. Okay. Any questions so far?
There are only organized questions so far, and yeah, nothing specific for the calibration link yet.
Okay. Store last transmission state to netlink CPU is a button. If you click it, you have to power cycle the device. If you wish that it remembers whether it should or it should not send data as soon as it's powered up. And factory reset is if you have changed the IP address of the device, then it will just change it to the default IP address. Okay, so that's all about the netlink node. Let's go to our that's one thing more. You see the values here. If I use white oh my god, a white picture, you will see the light will be more so which are coming to this camera is not saying nothing. So and the signal will be, the values will be higher. So that's because the light is coming into this fiber cables which are connected to the panel. Okay, so let's remove this. And go back to the widget designer. So when we want to use the recalibration tool in the widget designer, we have to make sure that we are connected with Pandoras box, because we will talk to Pandoras box. The first step is before the recalibration, we have to warp our panel or our screen manually. So what I have done here in Pandoras box, I have two outputs. The welcome panel is where I have the text with this projector. This is our first one. So this is my welcome panel mesh file. And the second one is the panel output number 2. This is what I will use for the recalibration, but it's also warped. So this is number 2 and 1. So let's give a test pattern to this. I will just turn the opacity. So you can see this is the output number 2, which is warped here because the layer number 5 is routed to camera number 2. So that's what we have to do first of all before we start with the recalibration tool. Now we can go into the widget designer. Under Tools tab, you will find the Projector Recalibration tool. So first of all, it's empty. The first thing you will see, it's the Outputs tab and then the Actions tab. So the Outputs tab means we have to add some outputs into our Projector Recalibration tool. As I'm connected to Pandoras box, I can see these outputs. I can choose one of them or both of them to add into the Projector Recalibration tool, or I can enter the information manually into these fields. So what I wanted to do is to recalibrate the second output. That's why I'm choosing output number 16. So this is the device ID 16 and the resolution. So if you select these, the information will be filled in these fields, but you can also enter them manually. Okay, now I have an output. If I select it, we are still in the Outputs tab. I have to enter the home mesh. So what I have created and what I have warped in Pandoras box. So the editable mesh file I have used. It's called panel minus output 2. And then you have to enter also the ending of the file, CMSH, Now we have also the information for the home mesh. Pattern and pattern delay in milliseconds are per default on 300 milliseconds. And we recommend to not enter a much smaller number than the default number. But you can change it, of course. If in cases it can be necessary to increase the interval, for example, if the processing capacity of the widget designer and Pandoras box machine is limited, or the connection between both of them is slow, then you can change it. But it's not recommended to enter a much smaller number than 300 milliseconds into this field. What now we have to do is to choose our fibers. So you remember the calibration link node. This is our first node. This is why it has the ID number 1. And you remember I told you that I have connected the numbers 9, 10, 11, and 12. So what I can do is to select these connectors and add into my list. I can also do a multi-selection. Just like that. Now I have also my fibers. So that's all what we have to do in our outputs tab. If we have multiple outputs, then we can add them again, new, and do the same process again for other projectors. Let's go to the action node.
I have a question there for before you change to the actions, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
So the outputs, is it possible to use these fibers again in a second or third output?
Yes, actually, you know when, yes. So let's go back. You remember the setup with 2 projectors and the soft edge blend area. So if we have, let's go back to my yeah, this one. If we have site setups like this, then we can share the fiber cables in the soft edge area. But these are the only fiber cables that we can share. So that's very important to know. Of course, we can choose these 2 for the second output. If I had one, I could choose these 2 for the second output. But if they are not, actually, if they are at these corners, then it's not recommended to share them. Of course, you can use them, but they are. It doesn't make sense to use these fibers because it's for another output. Yeah, that's the case. You can share the fiber cables.
Cool.
Was it okay?
Yeah. I think very much.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back again to our projector recalibration tool. Where was I? Actions. Okay. You can see here there are a lot of buttons. But first of all, before we start with recalibrating, we have to calibrate it first, or locate, find the locations of the fiber cables. That's why we should run the locate first. But first of all, if we have multiple outputs here, we will see it also in the outputs list. We have to select them. So this is why if I click on the locate button, I will get the arrow no output selected. So I have to select this output and then click on locate. When I click on locate, Pandoras box will send, so actually the projector recalibration tool will create a canvas in Pandoras box. So let's do this here. It will create a folder, call it widget designer recalibration, and in this folder it will create a canvas for the test pattern in Pandoras box. So, and it will run the test pattern. Let's do it. So you see, here's the widget designer recalibration folder and the canvas for output 216. And it will run the test pattern to find out the fibers, fiber locations. Any questions so far, Thomas?
Yes, there was another question regarding the different fiber cables and options there. I think that's a topic you go through at a later point.
Different fiber cables.
Yeah, options for fiber cables. I think that was a topic on your list, wasn't it?
It wasn't,
Oh.
but
Oh, sorry, I thought it was. Maybe we can put it on your topic list.
Okay, yeah, of course.
And there's another question coming in. Can we do locate, so the locate process you just started, for multiple outputs, I think at the same time?
You can select multiple outputs and press the locate button, but it will do it after each other. So it will do the first output and then the second output. That's how it works.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, it's very helpful to have this log field, so you can see the location is completed for the output 2.16. Now, when I want to check the located points to make sure that they are located correctly, I have to press the draw located points. So yes, you will see the white points. I don't know why the camera is not so sharp. The white located points are the fiber positions. So they're pretty much cool. Now, first of all, at the first time we are doing this calibration, we have to store these points as our home position or home points. So this is why we use the store home points. And they are stored. Now we check it again. Draw home points. They are cool. And now I can apply my home mesh. So when I click on apply home mesh, you have it will create another editable mesh from the mesh I have created from the panel output 2 because it will never change my original editable mesh file. So it will always create a copy of this file and then compare it to the changes and apply the changes to the to this editable mesh file. So it will never change my original editable mesh file. Okay, now we are able to move the panel a little bit and to do a recalibrating. So let me. Okay, I'll move it a little bit. Now we can calibrate it again. So for the recalibration, you can also use the Locate button. It will again sending the test pattern.
While we're waiting for the recalibration, can I put some questions in?
Of course.
Cool. So there's one question. Does the recalibration process also works for complex 3D objects?
No. It is still a 2D application. So we can use it for flat panels and curved screens, but not for 3D objects.
Okay, so also if I'm following a 2D workflow and have some, maybe it's a house or something like that, architectural mapping or something, is it usable on something like that?
Actually, I'm not sure. I think we have to test it before I answer something wrong. If it's a 2D planner and looking like a house, it might work, but I'm not really sure about it.
Okay. More questions, or should we push them for later?
Yeah, ask.
Okay. So, and another question. Does it also work with multiple sub-meshes?
As we have to give the output mesh file into the projector recalibration, if the sub meshes, I think, if they are connected to each other, so like they are not moving, like you have a 3D object, not a 3D, sorry, a planar object with different planes, but they are holding together, and you have created multiple surfaces, then it will make a copy of it. So then you can use it, but in case they are moving independently, then not. I think that's not really a correct way to use this.
Yeah, I think
because it should be on the output.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, completely right. So if you're changing inside the same warp or inside the same whole mesh file on different depth, so they have the sub meshes have to change independently. It's not working. As long as you can solve it by warping the whole canvas, then it should be possible. But then there's no point to use these sub meshes anymore. So I think the answer is more a no. All right, another one. Why do you have to relocate if you have moved the projector?
Because we have to find out again the fiber cable's positions. We have still our home positions, and this is our reference, so that's what we have. And we will get another information again, okay, where are these fiber cables again? And then we will change the editable mesh file depending on this change that the new information that we have.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, we push some more for later.
Okay. Now I have moved the panel and then locate it again. So like locate the fiber cables. Now we start. We show the located points. So they are completely okay in the correct position. Now I can use the apply recalibration button because I have my store points. I have stored my home positions, so I don't need to store it again because I have it already. I just apply my recalibration, and you will see it has showing first of all the first editable mesh file, and then it jumped to the correct position and created use the changes to deform the editable mesh file again. So now it's matching again to the panel. So any questions to this recalibration process?
Yeah, there's more question in comparison to the Christie auto stack feature. So I just read it for you so we can think about how the answer can be there. I see the calibration is also based on structure lighting scanner. The benefit of Pandoras box against Christie auto stack. To be honest, I have not much knowledge about Christie auto stack, so it's hard for me to answer that. Do you have a better understanding of that?
No, me either. I didn't work with that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so we have to say sorry on that question, not being able to answer that, because we're very deep in the Pandoras box side and not so much in the projector and Christie auto stack feature. That was it for now.
Okay, cool. Now you know how to find out the home positions and how to recalibrate and how to use this projector recalibration tool. Next time you change the panel's position, you just have again to locate, first of all, the fiber cable's position, and then check it with the button draw located points, and then apply the changes to the warp file with the button apply recalibration. So it's actually for the first time that we store the home position. If we move the panel multiple times, we do not have to store the home position again. That's it to the projector recalibration. Of course, you can do it a little bit automatically. So let's close this and do a custom script button. So I can give the command via a custom script button, so I can just do this all these steps automatically with pressing the button. So if you do not have an operator on site, you can use these commands and make a cool interface for someone who doesn't know about this process, and use these commands to make everything easier. So for recalibrate, locate, what we have to do is to give the output name, so which is also suggested if you have already done, if you have added into the output list. So I don't want to press it because then it will take a little bit time to, for the test pattern. I just wanted to show you how easy it is with the recalibration. Sorry. There is another locate and apply. So it will locate first of all and then apply the changes to the editable mesh. So you don't have to give a second command to this. Then you can also remove it. Or if you want to check the draw point, the located points. Yeah, there it is. So let's test this one. So that's make the life a little bit easier to use these commands for the projector recalibration tool. Another thing is if you we can also send commands to the calibration link node. So to stop the data or start the data or start integrate. What you have to do is to write the node ID or node with the ID, with the correct ID. And you will find the list of all the actions that are possible with this. So to disconnect it or to enable the output, or connect it again, changing the IP address. So let's go to something we can maybe write it down. Yeah, stop data. So when I click on it, you will see will just stopping sending any kind of signals to this node. Yeah, that's also very handy to use if you want to do the whole process automatically. But first of all, the first thing, or the thing that is not really automatic, is that we have to warp everything manually. Yeah, any questions to this?
No new questions. I just checked the auto stack question, but and I may have an answer, but we can push that to the end of the webinar, so not to interrupt you again.
Okay. Cool. Then actually we will go back again to our PowerPoint presentation. So I just, there is also everything in the help file. We have also summarized a short step-by-step list of what I want to go through with you. Well, the first an important thing is to have the connection between Pandoras box and widget designer and the client and so on. I think everyone knows it. And then the very important point is to warp the editable mesh files in Pandoras box for each output you want to recalibrate. And creating a calibration link input node and connect it to the input to the calibration link device with the correct IP address. Yeah, connect Pandoras box to widget, and then open the tools, projector recalibration tool, and add the clients into this projector tool. Enter the warp mesh files, the names, the complete names with the ending of the files, and assign fiber cables to the output. And then go to the Action tab, select an output, and localize the fiber tips. Check accuracy with the draw located points, and store the home position. That's the first step. These are the first steps that you have to do if you are doing it the first time. Then after physical step setup, localize new fiber tips positions, and then check the accuracy again and apply the recalibration. And that's it. There might be some error messages, some possible error messages that you will get. But this is when you for example, if the black pixel and the bright if the black pixel is too bright or the white is too dark, then you will not get a you don't have a difference in between of them, so you wouldn't get correct signals to recalibrate it. That might be a reason why it's not working, or there might be also too much side light on screen that erase the black. Also in setups like if you have two outputs with two white screens, and there are some reflections from some edges or something like this, then it might destroy the recalibration. So you have to make sure that you do not have reflections. Also, poor cable transmission quality or broken calibration link board, broken cables or too long cables, or cables are bent too much, or they are dirty and yeah, they are not cutted correctly. These are the error messages that you might get, or yeah, that's I think everything I could tell you about this. Any questions to this side?
There are no new questions. I just wanted to add also, the issues on that. I've seen projects where people have restored their screen, so they painted it white and they left the fiber optics inside the screen, so all the ends were painted white. And that's, of course, a point when this feature isn't working anymore. Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Can I remember you to have some words about different fiber cables and options we have? Maybe we have something in the help file. I'm not sure about that.
We do not have something in the help file. Actually, I can tell you what I know about this. We are using, or maybe I can show it to you. In the camera. So actually it's a 1 millimeter fiber cable. It's very small because the connectors are also so small. It's I do not have any idea if they have any differences or we support different fiber cables, but yeah, they are probably different fiber cables, but I do not have any idea if they if we support different from different manufacturers or so on. But what I know is that they should match the connectors, so they should be 1 millimeter and yeah, should be should transmit the light. That's everything I know about that.
Right. We can for sure provide some more information if you drop us an email at Pandoras, support.pandorasbox@christiedigital.com. I will push these things in the chat so you have some links available. Yeah, and I researched a bit about the AutoStack question earlier and found out that's a Christie twist feature. So this is a camera-based auto calibration process. So that's a bit different to what the recalibration from Widget Designer is doing. So the AutoStack feature is about finding the corrections from the first go, and also the blend values and where to blend at which value. That's the auto calibration. What we do here is a recalibration only, so you have to care manual about your warps and everything, and it's more about different projects. So in fixed installations or in repetitive projects, so if you're traveling around with the same setup again, and you always have more or less same distances between projector and screen, this is the point where the recalibration tool comes into play. So you put everything down, you hit the recalibrate button or the locate button, and it takes some seconds, and your picture is back to where it has to be. The benefit is, I think, on the financial side. So I think, I may be wrong, but I think the fiber optics is a bit cheaper than the camera-based auto stack or auto alignment tools. There are more auto alignment tools available with Christie 2. This is called Christie Mystique. This is the top one, also available to use it directly with Pandoras Box or certain projectors. We have a webinar about that too. So these are the camera auto calibration tools, and today this is about the fiber optics and the recalibration tool.
Thank you, Thomas. I have to add one more thing. If you want to use the projector recalibration with a calibration link, then you have to make sure that you're using Widget Designer version 6 or upper, version 6.1, 0.0 or 0.1, and the Pandoras Box version 6.1.3 or higher. And you have to make sure that you have the .NET version 4.8 or higher. So yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you.
Cool. I hope you enjoyed it and you can use it and have fun with it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.